In this demonstration, we're going to look at the anti-spam settings that we have on our Exchange Edge transport servers. So we're going to start first of all with the IP allow list. The IP allowed list allows servers to connect to us and send mail to us. So on the allowed list currently I have an IP address of 10.10.0.10. That's a partner company. We've got the IP block list, so this is somebody that we know is a known spammer. So if we have a look at the blocked address, we can see that we've got 10.10.0.12 on here. We can specify exactly how long this thing lives within here. So if we just come in, we'll just remove it and just add it back in again, just to show that we can put in the IP address and specify exactly how long this person will be on the blocked list. So I'll just put the IP address back in again and click OK. So I never want that to expire. We can also use subscriber type services as well, so we can put in our IP allowed list providers and our block list providers. We do that by clicking on the properties, clicking on providers. We can then add in our providers. We can do the same thing with the block list provider, and we've also got exceptions, so we can say never block email from certain IP addresses. Recipient filtering being another setting here, so we can specify blocked recipients, so block messages sent to recipients that don't exist in our Active Directory domain and within our Exchange organization. And we can also block messages sent to the following recipients, to specify individuals. Maybe they're working on projects where we don't want to receive email from the outside world. Maybe it's an internal only email address. Sender filtering allows us to put in blocked senders. What I've done here is I've added in a DNS domain called spam.org, and what we've decided to do here is block anything coming in from that domain. We can also, as well, on the action, decide exactly what to do with those messages, so reject them or stamp them and allow them to process through. We've then got our sender ID, and what our sender ID is a record called an SPF record in DNS. So what we would do here is, as we send an email to somebody, the receiving server would check our DNS record and ensure that the mail did actually come from the IP address purported in the SPF record. In order to set that up on our end, what we have to do is set up a DNS record. So what I need to do here is just swap over to my DNS server. So my DNS server, just come in my forward lookup zone. I've got a datum.com, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create a new record for a datum.com. So I'm coming down to other new records, and what I want to create here is a text record. So I'll scroll down a little bit here, find text, and we can then click create record. Now in the new resource record dialog box, in the text box, what I need to type in here is I need to type in the IP address of my server. So we have the version within here, which is SPF1. We then specify the IP address, in my case IP version 4. My IP address is 10.10.0.40 and specify that for all. So we've got our record in place here now. Click OK. Click done. So we've now got our text record in place. So what will happen is anybody receiving mail from us will check our SPF record, ensure the mail comes from here. So it's a bit like a reverse DNS lookup. Now that we've done that, what we can also do as well is we can specify what to do if we send mail to people and their records don't match up. So all I'll do here is swap back to my Edge transport. Then on my Edge transport server, what I'm going to do here is just have a look at the properties and specify what we want to do with these records. So if the sender ID check fails, take the following actions. We can reject the message, delete the message, or we can stamp the message with the sender ID result and continue processing. Now there's quite a few companies still don't use SPF records, so it wouldn't make much sense to set up possibly reject or delete currently. So I'll click OK here. Next thing we've got here is sender reputation. This is where my Exchange server does various tests against the people who are sending us email. So we're collecting statistics based off things, as you can see here. If we appear to be the source of the junk email, the address can be added to the list of blocked IP addresses. So under sender confidence, we're performing an open proxy test when determining sender confidence level. We're doing various tests against their servers to see if potentially they could be used for an open relay. Then on the action, we can specify the sender reputation level block threshold. So a maximum 9, minimum of 0. For anybody whose reputation level reaches or exceeds this level here, what we want to do with our Exchange server is then add their IP address to our block list. And what we'll say here is that will last for 24 hours. So click OK here. The last setting we have here is content filtering. And content filtering allows us to analyze contents within our emails. So what we'll do here is we'll just have a look at the properties. So we can specify custom words, so we can allow messages containing these words or phrases. So what we could do here is QA. We'll add those in there, and we'll block anything with things like mortgage in there. So maybe somebody's trying to sell us a mortgage. We don't want that level of spam in there. We could put other words or phrases within here as well. So we'll now click OK here. We'll then just enable that, and that turns it on. If I just come back into the content filtering, other things as well is we can specify exceptions. So don't filter messages sent to, say, administrator@datum.com or postmaster@datum.com. And then under the action, the content filter, it says acts on messages according to their spam confidence level. It runs anywhere from 0 up to 9. 0 is very unlikely to be spam. 9 is spam. So what we can do here is we can delete messages that have a spam confidence level greater than or equal to, let's say, 7. What we could also do here as well is we could quarantine messages that have a rating greater than 7, or maybe let's set that to 6. And what we'll do here is our quarantine mailbox is going to be axel@datum.com. So we'll click OK here. It's just telling us here that the delete threshold must be a greater value than the reject, so fair enough. So we'll set that to 8. Click OK at this point here. We've now enabled all of the anti-spam settings on our Edge transport server. The upside is we haven't had to pay for any of this. The downside is we have to manage these lists. So that's the end of this demonstration. Thanks very much.